To honor Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary, among other things, Nintendo blessed us with Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is actually just a very basic port of Super Mario 64, Sunshine in widescreen and HD, and Galaxy 1 with some better controls. But not Galaxy 2. You don't get Galaxy 2, don't be greedy. Okay, for real, some legitimate grievances aside, being able to play these games on the Nintendo Switch is great, and it means a whole new generation of gamers can enjoy them too. So to honor this game and occasion in my own way, in this video we'll be looking at some neat Easter eggs and fun facts in Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Like, for example, in Sunshine's cutscene on the airstrip at the start of the game, for a single shot, Peach's pale blue earrings are replaced with her eyeballs. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever be able to unsee that one, you know? Something else I'd like to show you is a great product from Satisfy, the sponsor of today's video. Their flagship accessory is the Zen Grip Pro, which is designed to make the Switch handheld experience more comfortable with its asymmetric and ergonomic design. Put simply, I've spent at least like 20 hours in the last week with the Zen Grip Pro, and I really like it. The grip itself is solidly built and has a nice grippable feel, if that makes sense. Also, when slotted into the Zen Pro grip, the Switch is held in place quite firmly, without having any plastic on plastic thanks to those little rubbery bumps. A bonus, those smaller wedges that extend from the bottom of the grip allow the Switch to stand upright on a flat surface, which seems to be way more sturdy compared to the default Switch's little kickstand that it has. Also, in all of the bundles, you get a pair of thumb pads, which go over the Joy-Con analog sticks to make them way more grippable, and they work really well, they're great. Honestly, I don't see myself going back to using the Joy-Cons without the pads, or playing the Switch handheld without the Zen Pro grip. If you want to get your hands on one of these yourself, you can follow the link at the top of the description and use code DPAD10 at checkout for 10% off. On their site, you'll find the standard Zen Pro grip, which comes in black and red, tropical green or blue, or even a very newly released Ice Edition, which sports a wonderful transparent design. And they also have a whole section for the Zen Grip Go, made specifically for the Switch Lite. Again, if any of this looks interesting, click that link in the description and use code DPAD10 at checkout for 10% off. Thanks to Satisfy for sponsoring this video, which will now continue on. Enjoy! Jumping into things, since this collection is nostalgic in nature, why not quickly touch on some of the nostalgic elements tucked into these games? Like, for example, in the final area before the final battle against Bowser in Super Mario 64, you can see a very pixelated rendition of Mario vs. Bowser etched into the pillars. In a similar vein, a retro Mario sprite is actually a whole planet in Mario Galaxy. And there is also the many references included in the introductory scan that Flood does at the start of Super Mario Sunshine. In the bottom left, we can briefly see bits depicting Mario's battle against Bowser in Super Mario Bros., Super Mario World, and Super Mario 64. Additionally here, the text in the bottom right are actually titles of Mario games with no spaces and mirrored to make them hard to read. Included is Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, Super Mario World, 64, Sunshine, Super Mario Kart, and Mario Kart 64, though those last two are interesting because they're actually spelled with an I instead of an A, making them Mario Kart. Also, the text in the upper left is actually Japanese hiragana, which lists some interesting bits about Mario's attributes. Translated, they read, Mario of the Mushroom Kingdom. Nemesis, Bowser. Occupation, plumber. Favorite food, spaghetti. Dislikes, poison mushroom. The person I love, secret. Body weight, secret. Height, unknown. Number of chromosomes, unknown. Father's name, do not know. Mother's name, do not know. Interesting. They also included a nod to Luigi's Mansion, which was released a year prior to Sunshine, with this Pianta dialogue in Hotel Delfino wishing someone would just show up and vacuum up the ghosts. By the way, bonus fun fact about the hotel, if you spam the L button to open up the map screen as soon as you load into the lobby, the visuals can get all kinds of messed up. I don't know why or how the menus make this happen, but it does, and it's great to see. And also, no fear, no matter how weird the visuals get, after a few moments of looking or moving around, they'll return to normal. Continuing on the topic of visuals and the camera, in the original non-personalized Super Mario 64, if you had a second controller plugged in as you went into the game's credit sequence, you could actually move the camera with the second controller's analog stick. As for 3D All-Stars, the game sees any controllers plugged in as the same primary controller, meaning that you can't technically have a second controller to control the camera. While that's very unfortunate for the Easter egg, I guess that does mean that if you wanted, you could goof around with a friend and sort of like fight for control of Mario, because both of you using your controller would technically be the main primary controller. So, I mean, that's something. Anyways, power sliding my segue back to Serena Beach, if we're talking about controllers, then you might notice that the hotel's courtyard is actually shaped like a GameCube controller. You can see this in game, but here is a nice overview shot to make it that much easier to see. Since this video is formatted sort of like a word association game, if you look at the shape of Isle Delfino on the map, you can obviously see that it is a dolphin. That is actually important and meaningful for a number of reasons. Firstly, Delfino is Italian for dolphin. Very fittingly, there are dolphins depicted in many forms spread across Delfino Plaza and the various levels. Also, in addition to being an aquatically relevant animal, dolphin was the name used for Nintendo GameCube while it was still in development. Isle Delfino also has some really great world design that I think is worth appreciating, namely the fact that in basically any level, you can look out and see other levels which match up to their approximate location on the map. For example, after entering Bianco Hills, turning around, you can get a pretty good overhead view of Rico Harbor. You can see part of Delfino Plaza and a vague hint of Gelato Beach, as well as Pina Park. I mean, even in Pianta Village, which at first glance seems to be super cut off from everything else, from the highest treetop you can spot Pina Park, a portion of Gelato Beach, and some very low poly sheer cliffs that most likely belong to Noki Bay. You can even use a glitch in Gelato Beach with one of those dune bud leaves to briefly go very high into the air and see that, yes, the island is like literally in-game shaped like a dolphin. Well, at least the portions of the island that are actually modeled are shaped vaguely like a dolphin. I think that's great because, in my opinion, a well-designed world is well worth appreciating. And it also means that, unironically, Sunshine is actually the Dark Souls 1 of the Mario franchise. No? Okay, just me? Okay, switching gears, let's quickly cover a few things that are very surface level. In Buoy Base Galaxy, there is a small planetoid which, when opened, looks suspiciously similar to a Pokeball. And there is a rough recreation of Olimar's Hocotate ship from Pikmin 2, which can be found in Space Junk Galaxy. Oh, and of course, if left idle long enough, Mario will fall asleep. His pose is different in each game, and in Sunshine and Galaxy, he just sorta snores. But in Mario 64, he actually sleep talks, listing off some of his favorite foods.
Nighty-nighty. Ah, spaghetti. Ah, ravioli. Ah, mamma mia.
Also in Mario 64, you can find butterflies around certain areas of grass or flowers. If you punch, kick, or jump into them, they can turn into a 1-up mushroom, or a bomb. Your mileage may vary, so good luck. Back in Sunshine, in Noki Bay's mission, Red Coins in a Bottle, hidden within the small structure at the bottom of the bottle is a very out-of-place door, which is hiding a very out-of-place book. I've seen a number of theories and conspiracies on why this book exists, but it's safe to assume that it was probably important at one point, but they ended up sweeping it under the rug. Like, for example, if you don't know, Nintendo games tend to have a lot of unseen or removed content based on version. Like, in the Japanese version, while Peach is pondering her brief sighting of Shadow Mario on the airstrip, Toadsworth and Mario are actually having a fully voiced interaction, which was just very, very quiet.
I imagine you'll be spending a fair amount of time at the princess's side.
Look like Mario's gonna have to find a job.
Trying to start a new career at...
Yeah, even though it's in, like, perfect English, for whatever reason, it was removed from international versions, so we never got to hear about Mario contemplating a change of career. Finally, this last section of the video will be dedicated to some straightforward, but hopefully, helpful details that you can use the next time you jump into these games. Also, we'll go in chronological order, which is actually a first for this video. So in Super Mario 64, you may know that there are some spots that if stood on, will actually warp Mario to some other location. Some work both ways, others just one way, and since not all of the warps are useful, we'll sort of start with the good ones and then go to the bad ones so that we can point and laugh. So Cool Mountain has perhaps the best warp. If you turn around from the very start of where you spawn into the level and stand at the edge of the broken bridge, Mario will appear at the bottom of the mountain on this edge of this broken bridge, which is actually a super short distance from the mother penguin. This warp works both ways, which means it's perfect for traveling back to the top if you ever miss an objective on the way down. There's also this handy one in Whomp's Fortress, in this corner near the metal camp block, which sends you up near the top of the fortress, which is great for cutting down time spent traveling, aka skipping past that super perilous and dangerous, slowly rotating platform. But Bomb Battlefield has two warps. The first links these two flower patches, not unlike bonfires in Dark Souls, which simply skips needing to run past the chain chomp, while the others link the mountains to alcoves, which I would assume is probably the most well-known warp in the game. In Tall Mountain, there is a neat little warp on this neat little mushroom, which sends you a short distance away down onto this lower ledge containing the cannon. Wet Dry World has a pretty similar warp from this corner, which takes you up to the cannon, but going that direction only works if the water level is at the lowest. So it's helpful, but not both ways. There's also Shifting Sandland, which has its own warp that connects this spot next to the cannon with this spot next to this palm tree on the opposite side of the map, which I guess is nice because it lets you skip that perilous rolling box platform maze thing, you know, that section. Not as useful, Tiny Huge Island has a one-way warp that gets you back from this floating platform to the mainland, and standing on the balcony of Rainbow Ride's big house sends Mario to the top of the red coin platforming area. This works both ways, but neither situation skips all that much. Snowman Land's warp from here to here is mostly useless, as it just cuts out easily walkable terrain. And finally, the most useless ones are in Shifting Sandland's Pyramid, which from here to here allows you to access this 1-up, which is also one way I should add, and then in Lethal Lava Land, you can travel between the small island near the level spawn point and the nearby hole right below one of the eyeball monsters. I mean, if you use it at the start of the level, you literally can't get out because the eye will just damage Mario, which is fun, I guess. It just seems like a really weird design, but yeah, that's that for the warps. When it comes to Sunshine, I humbly offer these two techniques that should come in handy. After diving onto wet ground, even if it's a very small puddle, Mario can then slide for a long while, quickly gaining speed, which is great if you feel a need for speed. The other technique is the Spam Spray, or a burst spray. Really, it doesn't have an official name because it's not mentioned in the controls nor the action section of the game, but the game does mention that you can perform a backflip by shooting water with R and then pressing A, which includes a large burst of water. If you press the buttons R and A at the same time while mid-air, you can actually get the burst spray without any flipping, making it a very valuable tool as it dumps a lot of water in a single direction. Though of course this does mean that it uses up a lot of water from the tank, so be mindful of its cost. Also, while working on this script, I realized I should mention that the very fun and useful Spin Jump and Spin Jump Sprinkler that Mario can use also works while riding Yoshi. For both, it slightly reduces their fall speed, which helps get more distance, but the effect is like super pronounced for Yoshi. From a standing position, a jump and flutter doesn't even clear this canal, but a spin jump and flutter from the same spot gets him almost like twice as far. Of course, spin jumps can take some time to get comfortable with, but that, along with those other two techniques, should go a long way to enhancing your Sunshine experience. Finally, with Galaxy, I have two techniques and some stuff about Starbits. So first, another action which is not included in the menu is the homing ground pound. Unlike a normal ground pound, which is performed with ZL while in the air, a homing ground pound requires a spin with Y right before pressing ZL. This has a different animation, and it will actually make Mario home in on enemies that are close by. The other technique is with the Cosmic Mario races, which you'll find some of them sprinkled throughout the game. Despite being a foot race, you can get a starting boost very similar to what you can do in Mario Kart. So after the countdown begins, hold forward, and then you want to press ZL after a second, which makes Mario crouch further down into like a ready stance, and then press the jump button, so A or B, as soon as the race begins. Basically all of the actions needed for a long jump. If done properly, Mario will actually glow for a short while and get enough speed to give you a pretty decent head start. Now for the bit about starbits, here are a couple of fun facts. Galaxy 1 has a starbit shaped reference to Zelda tucked away in Rolling Gizmo Galaxy, viewable from this bridge while on foot. It's a blue rupee. Pretty nice. Also, starbits in Galaxy 1 and 2, gratitude crystals in Zelda Skyward Sword, and max revives from Pokemon are all inspired by the popular Japanese sugar candy Konpito. According to Rosalina's storybook, starbits taste like honey. That said, considering that starbits are literal candy and they taste so good, it's no wonder that so many are requested by hungry Lumas. If you're diligent with starbit gathering during normal gameplay, you should be able to get most of the starbits needed to meet the demands of those Lumas, but if you need to farm some starbits, here are two decent locations. Firstly is Sling Pond Galaxy, which is actually the second Hungry Luma galaxy that you can reach, so it's pretty early on in the game. I personally find the Sling Ponds very annoying to control, but a single good run of this can get you like 200-ish starbits, which is not bad, but we can do better. Namely Bubble Blast Galaxy, which, while being later in the game than Sling Pod Galaxy, it is way better at farming starbits. So all you have to do after spawning in is take this pipe in the bottom left, jump up onto this section so you have a nice view of the area, and just sweep your camera back and forth to collect like 90 starbits pretty much all at once, and then just sort of jump to your death. Since 90 starbits is 40 more than is needed for a 1-up, you'll actually be gaining lives during this. With this, it should only take a couple of minutes to reach the in-level cap of 999 starbits. Unfortunately, to add those 999 starbits to our total, we need to go and actually complete the level, which I personally find, pretty easy since the Switch's motion controls are way more reliable than the Wii's. Then again, it's still something that uses motion controls and it's supposed to be a sorta hard level, so your mileage may vary, but for me, a decent run of this took on average about 11 to 12 minutes. So while I really didn't have to, with this I was able to get to the starbit counter cap of 9,999 in a little less than 3 hours, which I think is pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect. There are probably... Also, I should note that upon reaching the max number of starbits, every coconut in the game will be permanently transformed into a watermelon, which is super useless. It really doesn't change anything other than the texture, but that's something. Also, the process of farming those starbits actually got me to 95 lives, which I bumped to the max of 99 using Peach's letter full of green mushrooms. That's also something completely pointless because, fun fact, in one of the most confusing game design choices I can think of for this game, Super Mario Galaxy resets the life counter every time you save and quit the game. Oh, what fun. With that, we've covered most of what I wanted to include, so let's go ahead and end things here. Thank you for watching this far, thanks to Satisfy again for sponsoring this video, and thanks to my channel members for their support, with especially big thanks to Christy Cuntras, Pseudonymous, Jermanger, and Achilles Rhodes for being super fans. If you'd like to show your support, commenting, leaving a like, and maybe even subscribing would be super swell. Also, feel free to check out some of my other videos if you want. That's about it for this one. I'll see you in the next video.